Hey guys, so it's Alicia from LBCC Historical Apothecary. Today we're going to talk about tooth powders and a bit of oil pulling, just some kind of historical tooth information for you. So what I want to do today is show you actually how to make your historical tooth powders kind of a modern twist on it. And so that's also where the oil pulling comes in. So let's start off first by just talking a bit about the ingredients for these tooth powders. If you have any questions, just let us know. Patrick is going to answer them, or at least ask me so I can answer them for you guys. So the first one we want to talk about is maybe we should do just kind of a general tooth history. So a lot of people think that, you know, nobody was ever brushing their teeth until like the 1930s when nylon toothbrush bristles were invented. And that's actually not true at all. There was care to teeth and the gums very early on. The one that we offer in our shop is from 1653, and that's a Culpeper recipe. And if you guys know about Culpeper, he is like the go-to guy for the 16th and early 1700s. And so when you talk about the ingredients in those tooth powders, he doesn't say, you know, this is great for the gums, or this is going to fight against cavities. They don't talk like that. They're going to talk about, so, you know, the green humor and the red humor, and like this is all going to help your humors and things like that. So it's all about the humors back then. But the actual ingredients in this tooth powder is rose, lemon, sage, nutmeg, and clove. And they actually do have scientifically proven remedies for the teeth. They actually do help. So Culpeper wasn't too far off. You know, like sometimes in history we can't really take all the recipes and reproduce them because obviously some of them aren't very good. And that kind of brings me to the 18th century. When you talk about tooth powders in the 18th century, we've had a lot of requests to put tooth powders out there. One of the reasons we haven't done that is because I've only found one recipe for tooth powders in the 18th century that is actually good for you. And we don't obviously want to put out anything that's going to hurt you guys, or, you know, so we want to make sure that all the ingredients in the original recipe actually do something good for your teeth. Previous to that, in the 18th century, you know, like dragon's blood was used a lot, and it smells good. It's an incense, but you don't want it in your mouth. So 18th century tooth powders are kind of scary, and you know, we have the one that we can put out, but we haven't put it out yet because there really hasn't been that resurgence of want of tooth powders. And I think, you know, the feedback that we've had is once people start trying the tooth powders, they work really, really well, and they don't want to go back to toothpaste. And I can't blame them because we are a tooth powder household here too. And I personally feel that my teeth are cleaner, my mouth is fresher feeling, and specifically with our Civil War tooth powder, we're actually whitening our teeth, you know, as we're helping clean. So I think there's a lot more benefits to the tooth powders historically if you get the right recipes versus, you know, the toothpaste that we're using today. But that's just my personal opinion. So let's start off by just looking at these tooth powders here, and let's go here. This is the Culpeper tooth powder from 1653, and the ingredients here are rose, lemon, sage, nutmeg, and clove. And if you want to know, you know, what each of them do, I'm just going to kind of give you like a little breakdown here. So the lemon helps with whitening and killing bacteria. The cloves are great for any infection or to numb other tooth problems. The rose can help with relief from inflammation or gum problems. It can also strengthen the teeth and provide relief from gum pains for those who suffer with bad odor or bad breath. Rose can also help to freshen the breath. There's also a little bit of information that they think that rose kind of helps whiten the teeth too, but we're not really too sure on that yet. Sage obviously is antifungal, antibacterial. It has astringent properties. It will help freshen your breath. And nutmeg gives you those trace minerals that you really need. Also, it's strong in potassium and calcium and iron, manganese, and those are all really great for tooth health, gum health, It can help relieve toothache, and it's just really good for your teeth. Now, when you use this, it's not like the tastiest tooth powder recipe. It's a little bit on the, I am going to put this really great herb collection together to put on my meat before I roast it type of taste. But if you can get away from that, it is excellent for your teeth. So that's Culpeper, and that one is the 1653 one. And now we're going to talk about the other tooth powder that we have in our shop. And this tooth powder right here comes from 1860. This is the one that we use. And actually, I have a really great story about a dental hygienist who had contacted us regarding some problems that she was having with her teeth and wanted to know if any of these tooth powders would help her. So I did recommend our Civil War tooth powder, and it's called the 3 Essential Virtues. So recommended that, and she tried it, and she said she absolutely loved it. It really helped with her tooth problems, plus it whitened her teeth. And I think that's a really high compliment coming from a dental hygienist. And I was a little nervous at first as to why this dental hygienist would want, you know, our tooth powder versus, you know, all the other options she had available to her. But yeah, she absolutely loves it, and she uses it constantly. So so this one looks a little bit darker, and that's because it has activated charcoal in it. And so these are the ingredients for this Civil War tooth powder. Spearmint, orris root, powdered charcoal, Peruvian bark, powdered chalk, bergamot oil, and spearmint oil. So it says that it's a celebrated tooth powder that possesses 3 of the essential virtues, giving a pleasant breath, cleaning, purifying the gums, and preserving the enamel rarely found in tooth powders. And I kind of have to agree with the whole rarely found in tooth powders, because searching historical tooth powders, it's not an easy task. Probably 99% of them you have to throw away, because either they had sugars in them, they would have you know, toxic ingredients in them, or they would have like poisonous ingredients in them. So you really had to be careful. But the ones in our shop are perfectly fine to use. We have scientific data backing them, and the herbs for the mouth and for the teeth. So you don't have to worry about that. We're very careful as to the recipes that we choose. And of course, all of our stuff is certified organic, so that's a big plus.
Susie Marie Woods says it tastes wonderful.
Yay, that's good. I'm assuming you probably mean the Civil War one, because I think that one tastes really good too. And so I think what we're going to do here first is, before we start talking about oil pulling, let's put this together. So let's say that you bought one of our tooth powders and you are having problems figuring out how to use it. So this is the first thing you do. Here's your toothbrush. These are biodegradable wooden toothbrushes. Even the bristles are biodegradable. They are in our shop. And so what you're going to do is you're going to wet your bristles on your brush. And they did have toothbrushes historically, guys. It wasn't like, you know, they didn't have toothbrushes until the 1930s. I'm sure many of you are aware of the different types of toothbrushes they had, including, before toothbrushes, a lot of them used sponges. And so if you look up in like the Met, we see toothbrushes with sponges on top of them instead of bristles. And that was one way of cleaning the teeth, kind of an early toothbrush. Another way was specific branches from specific types of plants that would help clean. And we're not going to get into that today. That may be a different day post. But, you know, other than that, like, toothbrushes were around. Ways to clean your teeth were around. Some people did it. Some people didn't. You know, it all depends on how you felt about that. So anyway, so here we go. You're going to...
Elena Young says, I love the Civil War one. It makes my mouth feel clean.
That's great. I love hearing it.
And Susie said, yes, it's the Civil War.
Yeah, this one is really awesome, guys, the Civil War one. And this is the one that we use. I'm not saying this isn't awesome. But I think, you know, I prefer the taste of the Civil War one to this one. But for those of you who do earlier living history, you know, you definitely want to check this one out. So here we go. You're going to wet your toothbrush, right, in water or whatever you're using to wet your toothbrush. And then you would simply dip it into the tooth powder, and then you would brush. Okay, and you may have to dip it in again depending on, you know, how much you want in your mouth. But you would just use it like regular toothpaste. You would brush it out, brush, spit, and then rinse. So let's say you get our tooth powder, and you're not too keen on the whole like tooth powder thing. You're still getting used to it, and you want to update it a bit. So what we're going to do today is we're going to show you how to update our tooth powders.
Susie says in her experience the older one works better for whitening, but it doesn't taste as nice as the Civil War one.
That's great. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Susie, for that. That's really great to hear. We get a lot of feedback on the Civil War one, and we don't get as much feedback on the earlier one. So that's great.
Culpepper.
Yeah, but it works really well. Yeah, so don't let that, you know, deter you. So the first thing we're gonna do is this kind of wraps into the whole oil pulling thing. If you want to mix things together to kind of make a paste of it, and historically pastes were available. We actually have like a reproduced Titanic toothpaste little container upstairs in our library, and that was an actual paste. But so toothpastes were available, but really, you know, not until we hit like the 20th century, you know, 1900s, late 1800s. So what you're gonna need is you're gonna need a little jar. This is a 1 ounce jar, and then you're gonna need a cap that seals really well. If you use any of our jars, so like and that's the beauty about our glass jars. They are completely reusable, they're recyclable, so if you're not going to reuse it, please recycle it. So we're going to step over here. I have some organic, coconut oil, and coconut oil is amazing for the mouth and for the teeth, and we'll get into that in just a second. So if you're going to do this, you can use sesame oil too, but I would prefer coconut oil. You're going to fill your jar. Okay, and I didn't quite fill it all the way full. Let's just, okay, so I filled it about to there. And after you fill it, then you're going to decide which tooth powder you have from my shop. Today we're going to use the Civil War tooth powder. All right, and you're going to dump it in. Okay, and then you're going to stir. Okay, and I don't know if you want to see the top here. You're going to have to kind of stir to get this all incorporated really well. You see this kind of thick here. Put that back in. You can clean the jar up after you're finished. Okay, so this needs to set up a little bit, and while we keep talking, this will set up. I'm gonna just kind of clean the jar off, and you'll be able to mix it, you know, after the coconut sets up too. So,
could you shake it?
Yeah. Yep, you could definitely shake it. Just make sure that whatever top you're using has a really good seal on it. But yeah, we can cover it and we can give it a good shake. We'll just leave that off for a little bit, and you can kind of see it's pretty well saturated, which is really good. So now, I have carried this. Let's get my hands whipped off. I have carried this to, well, all over the United States. This is what we use. We put the coconut oil in and we dump the tooth powder in. And it's been all over, everywhere from like Taos to Ohio to you name it. And sometimes in the heat, you know, it will become liquid again. It's just the way of things. But just give it a good shake, let it sit, and you can use it in its liquid state. It's not like you can't. But when you use it, you're going to just dip and scoop with your toothbrush, and you're gonna brush like usual. So if you haven't ever brushed with activated charcoal, and that's one of the reasons why this recipe I think is so cool, it turns your mouth black. Like, it's kind of scary if you haven't ever done it, but the benefits of activated charcoal are amazing. You know, not only does it whiten your teeth, but it actually helps pull out the toxins from your teeth. And when you combine it with coconut oil, it's amazing, and that's where the oil pulling comes in. So before we get started with the oil pulling, I just want to say one more thing. If a lot of us today have like essential oils sitting around the house, if you trust your essential oils, if you know where they came from, and you feel like you want to put some in, you know, clove is a good one to put in. Myrrh, excellent. Myrrh would be my first choice. Frankincense would be my second choice. Spearmint, and I'm sure there's a lot of things you can add to that. You know, anything in the Culpeper too. You know, like lemon, and it just goes on. But so like myrrh, frankincense, and spearmint kind of are my go-to oils to put in, and I would just put in, you know, a drop of each into your updated historical recipe. So let's talk oil pulling, and I pulled up some information because my brain just can't hold that much information today. So you guys want to know, like, what is oil pulling? But oil pulling is one of the best ways to remove bacteria and to promote healthy gums. Basically, it works by detoxifying your mouth and your teeth, just kind of like soap does. Like, it kind of cleans that way. So it literally sucks out the toxins from your mouth, and it creates a clean, antiseptic oral environment.
It feels really good.
And it feels really good too. Like, you have never felt like clean teeth until you start working with you know, activated charcoal, tooth powders, and the oil pulling with the coconut oil. But basically, it prevents cavities. Like, I've actually seen people that claim to have had a really bad cavity and used oil pulling, and like that the gunk in the cavity just kind of pops off. And I use oil pulling. I don't do it every day, but I do it, and then obviously, like, I mix it with myrrh and frankincense because those are my favorite, like, two things to mix with. But yeah, it's really great. So what you want to do is you want to take about a tablespoon or so. I like some people say like a teaspoon. I like a tablespoon, and you just swish it around in your mouth for 10 to 20 minutes, and then you spit it out. Yeah, don't swallow it.
Forcing it through your teeth.
Yeah, forcing it through your teeth. And that's all it is. And the problem is, when do we find like 10 to 20 minutes to just walk around the house and like swish oil in our mouth? So I think that's one of the drawbacks, because, you know, it's not something we think about. But if you can do oil pulling with our tooth powders here, you will see, you know, really great changes in your oral health, in the whiteness of your teeth, in your gums. So we just wanted to put that out there, give you guys a little bit more information on this. And as always, you know, we will answer questions. If any come in, I'll try and keep up on the questions. These are available at our website at www.litts.etsy.com, and we'll post a picture of this after this has set up, because it's going to take a while. It's kind of hot down here in the lab today. But also, don't forget about your toothbrushes. Now, you know, historically, toothbrushes of sponges, just plain sponges, wooden toothbrushes, bone toothbrushes. The first actual bristle toothbrushes would have had like boar bristles. Yeah.
Elizabeth wants to know, she says, hi Alicia. She goes, is there a brand of coconut oil you recommend? She said she came in a little late in the talk.
Oh, that's a really good question. I don't really specifically have a brand, but we just use organic coconut oil. So if you guys just go down the organic aisle in the grocery store and get some organic coconut oil, you should be good to go. Or I think organic's the way to go.
Elena says that activated charcoal is actually one of the main ingredients in contemporary treatments for chronic bad breath
bad
too.
breath. Yeah, that's really awesome information. Also, yesterday Patrick found a video that shows people brushing with charcoal and the end results. So we will post that below the video so you guys can check that out. What are you trying to tell me?
They should send their pictures in too.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think it'd be really cool if you guys like post your pictures under this thing of you with your LBCC tooth powder and your mouth full of activated charcoal. I think that'd be really awesome. Maybe we can make a video too.
Do the tooth powders come with descriptions on how to use them? I won't remember everything you talked about, but it sounds great.
They do not. Yeah, as far as like little pamphlets, we don't have little pamphlets. But if you check out on the website, I will make sure it's updated just to show you guys how to use them. And so you can either go back to the website or send us an email. Yeah. If you just remember to, like, if you're using the regular powder, just remember to wet your toothbrush, dip it in and use it that way. If you're using the coconut oil method, you're going to take your jar. This is a 1 ounce jar. You're going to fill it with coconut oil, and then you're going to dump your historical tooth powder in, give it a stir, and let it sit up. So it's just like you would use toothpaste, but you're not using toothpaste. You're using historical tooth powder. And really, in the scheme of things, toothpaste is brand new. Like, yeah, toothpaste is not that old. They've been using tooth powder for centuries. So toothpaste is a brand new deal.
Elena says she has an event this weekend. She'll post pictures of her black teeth.
Yes, that's awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. So this rest of this week, we have a busy day in the lab getting ready for Fair at New Boston. Right, Patrick?
Mm-hmm.
I always have to check because I never know like what ones we're going to next. So hopefully we can get some videos in for you guys, even if you just want to talk while we're working. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, anyway, so thanks for tuning in. Ask questions. We will answer them, and check out our tooth powders in the shop. If you guys want the 18th century tooth powder that I found, let us know. We haven't made it yet because there really hasn't been that much of an interest. So yeah, let's start this tooth powder
And you should
movement.
post a picture of your black teeth too.
I will do that for you guys. I will, you know what, at this next event, I will post a picture, big smile, me and black teeth all the way. It'll be awesome. So, okay, thanks guys, and I really appreciate you guys tuning in to these live video feeds. Let us know what else you guys want to see. We have some really great stuff coming up. We're going to, believe it or not, and this is true story, we are going to be making some historical absinthe. Yep, and we're going to do some, I know, right, crazy. We're going to do Facebook Live feed while we do that. After we're done, it's going to have to sit a while. But so we have some really awesome things planned for you guys. So just keep checking back, stay tuned. Please comment, share with your friends, and check out our historical apothecary on Etsy. Okay, bye guys.